Hello guys, this is Nat Blue, and today we are going to react to another Dungeons and Dragons video. There's a lot of stuff coming out on the YouTube channel, the official Dungeons and Dragons YouTube channel, about the 2024 core rules, specifically the player's handbook right now. So we are going to just jump right into this, listen to these great guys talk about the new weapon mastery. Okay, let's just jump in.
We have Weapon Mastery, which has a significant impact on so many classes, subclasses, all these characters that has completely changed the game. Can you tell me more about this?
Weapon Mastery properties are brand new properties that we have assigned to all of the game's simple and martial weapons. And you must have a class feature that allows you to unlock Weapon Mastery to be able to use those properties. And so what this means is if a wizard, for instance, who does not have a Weapon Mastery feature, picks up a weapon, that weapon is going to function the way they expect it to from the 2014 rules. Although a number of weapons have had some tweaks made to them in addition to the Weapon Mastery properties. However, if you are a character, whether you are a fighter, a barbarian, a rogue, a paladin, a ranger, or someone who has otherwise unlocked the ability to use Weapon Mastery, suddenly when you use the dagger, because of your mastery with the weapon, you will be able to unlock its mastery property. And each weapon has a specific mastery property from a list of properties that has been assigned to it. And so with the dagger, that property is a property called Nick. It allows you to benefit from the extra attack that the light property in the dagger gives you without having to spend your bonus action on it. It's simple, but powerful. Because what that suddenly means is the person who has decided to focus their mastery option on daggers, they've just freed up their bonus action to do something else with it. They no longer have to use their bonus action when they are using the light property to get that extra attack each round.
But they could.
But they could.
So they could throw 3 daggers.
They could. But this is just a great example of how Weapon Mastery powerfully transforms how certain characters use their weapons. There are other weapons that have a property called Graze. And if your character unlocks the Graze property in a weapon, that means that you are so good at using that weapon that you will always manage to at least graze your target, even if you missed. And again, transformative. Now, no character in the player's handbook has access to every mastery property simultaneously. Just as a spellcaster has to choose the cantrips that they know from a larger list of available cantrips for their class, the characters who have the Weapon Mastery property choose a certain number of those properties that they have unlocked. And how you make that choice is you choose the weapon. So for instance, if you're playing a class that lets you unlock 2 mastery properties, you would choose 2 weapons. You might pick dagger and short sword.
Okay. So I do like that they're limiting the number of masteries. I'm sure there's some classes, probably like the fighter, that are going to get more masteries. But I do like that they're limiting the number of masteries because it seems like this could get very complicated. So that's good. We'll see how the rest of this plays out. We still have 10 minutes left of the video, so I might change my opinion on that. But I do like that you only pick a couple of weapons to master.
And that means you get to use the mastery properties of those 2 weapons. Some classes are able to have more mastery properties unlocked at one time than others. The leader of the pack in that regard is the fighter. The fighter is the master of Weapon Mastery.
So I was completely correct. Look at that. I might have remembered it from the fighter video that we just watched. Um, I promise we aren't. I'm not watching these in the same day. I know I'm wearing a white short again. I don't know what's going on with me. I've just been wearing a lot of white shorts, but uh, so the fighter. It makes a lot of sense that the fighter would be the weapon master. That is kind of in the name. That is a cool fighter. I love those like dragon gauntlets. Those are sick.
Mastery. The fighter, over the course of their career,
It's just the Dragonborn. Those aren't gauntlets. Those are his hands. That's just the Dragonborn. I should have known.
they are able to have more and more mastery properties unlocked at a time. And then even at a higher level, they get to a point where they are able to also swap in certain mastery properties over other mastery properties.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that when we dig into the fighter.
Yeah, that's amazing though.
There are other properties that push people back. There's topple, where you can knock someone down with the battle axe, for instance, that has the topple mastery property. You can choose your weapons to combo with each other in different ways. A great example of this is the short sword has the Vex property, and Vex, when you hit somebody with a weapon that has the Vex property and you've unlocked that property,
Yeah.
it means your next attack roll against them has advantage. Well, we carefully constructed the mastery property selections to benefit different sort of class fantasies. So in this case, this is all about empowering the rogue to be able to set themselves up with advantage for their next attack, so that then that attack has
Sneak attack.
it can sneak attack. And there are things like that throughout. Ranged weapons, because again, mastery properties aren't just on melee weapons. For example, the longbow has the slow property. And the narrative here is, imagine you're hitting someone in like a leg or somewhere else that is going to slow them down. When you think about the long range of the longbow, this allows you to keep that creature way over there, because you are making it harder and harder for them to reach you.
Yeah.
And again, the tactical possibilities start multiplying, particularly if you have weapon mastery and you're also playing a class that eventually gets extra attack, because you can start using one weapon for one of those attacks and another weapon for the other one, and exploit their different mastery properties to create some fascinating tactical combinations yourself.
So the Great Club has push, which makes perfect sense. You can knock someone back 10 feet. But a heavy crossbow, it's perfect, because if you want to knock someone off a cliff, if you want to shoot someone right off the wall of a castle, that has a new element of strategy now.
And right there too, you see, when you compare the mastery properties on the different weapons, adding them allowed us to bring out some of the narrative differences among these weapons in a way that we never could before.
Right.
So if you compare the heavy crossbow to the longbow, one of them is slowing, the other one is pushing. That's actually an example of us being able to finally show how being hit in the real world by those two weapons feels different.
Right.
Because a crossbow hits with a force because of the mechanism. The longbow does not necessarily. I mean, they're both. You don't want to be hit by either of them. But it was a lot of fun for us to look at how can we actually bring these weapons to life in a way we never could before.
Okay, I keep saying this. The artwork for this player's handbook is incredible. I've liked all of the pictures they've shown so far. Some really cool Dragonborn stuff, but this one especially is pretty cool. And my camera's covering what I think is the best part of this picture. That jaw's a mimic. Look at that guy. That's so cool, right? With all of the eyes and the iconic purple tongue. That is awesome. I think this might also be a reference to the old Dungeons and Dragons TV show. It kind of looks like, I mean, I could be wrong here because I never watched it, but it does kind of look like the wizard and the ranger, maybe even that barbarian with his horned helmet, are directly from that show. Am I wrong? I might be wrong, but let's just keep this video going. I just keep wanting to point out the artwork because they did an incredible job with it for this rulebook.
Now that we have weapon mastery, everyone has the option of taking a feat that unlocks some weapon mastery. So we wanted to make sure that no matter what class that you're playing or subclass, you have the ability to dip your toe into this pool through the feat system.
And there's also sap, which gives that target disadvantages.
Sap is perfect against a foe that's actually really scary, and you want to impose disadvantage on their attack rolls.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there are a number of weapons that have sap, and like the mace, the spear, and it again really good against the scarier
Like, look at that. That is so cool.
foes, but also another example of us looking at ways to enhance not only the narrative of different weapons, but also key into certain class fantasies better. So the mace, often associated with the cleric, and clerics have traditionally been all about protecting their friends. And so we were particularly eager to then put sap on the mace, because sap is all about diminishing how scary someone else is to your group. Whereas other weapons have mastery properties that are all about knocking people down or setting up your next attack.
How many times can you use weapon mastery? Is this every attack you can use that weapon mastery?
Yes. So if you have the weapon mastery unlocked on a weapon that you're using, it's designed so that you can theoretically be benefiting from the mastery property every time that you hit with the weapon, or in some cases, like with the grace property, when you miss with the weapon. And it is because of that design that we kept the mechanical weight of these mastery properties very light. We wanted them to be very impactful, but not a huge slowdown in play. And
not tremendously complex by themselves.
Exactly. So they are very weighty in terms of what they do, but they are not highly complex, because particularly in the hands of a character who starts getting many attacks, like think about a high-level fighter who can just attack, we wanted to make sure that because these are getting applied potentially over and over again, that they weren't going to bog the game down. And so that was a huge focus of our internal playtesting, is making sure that these each meet the goal of being really spicy and fun and create tactical interest, while at the same time not bogging down play.
We talked about this before, but now
I don't know how I feel about them not giving a restriction to how often you can use these weapon masteries. So I think the concern is like the rogue thing he was discussing earlier. Being able to set up sneak attack every time you hit with your weapon is a lot. By giving yourself advantage with that weapon, that's a lot of damage output for the rogue. And I think they could have done it similar to how the Battle Master does it, where every class has a certain allocation of weapon mastery attacks. But I mean, we'll see how it plays, because this might not be a concern. Like they said, the consequences aren't too heavily weighted, but like topple and everything are part of the Battle Master class and part of like the monk class and everything already, and they have restrictions because you don't want to have somebody toppling an enemy every single time they hit them. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. I could be wrong. I'm still relatively new to D&D. I've been playing for 4 or 5 years, maybe less than that. So I could be wrong here. I could be looking into it too much. But to me, it seems like this might create an issue where the players are doing the weapon mastery every single turn. Because if you have weapon mastery with a specific weapon, there's no way you're not using that weapon, right? So using the weapon mastery very often, and then it just makes it harder for the DM to honestly deal damage. The action economy could get really messed up here, but we'll see how it goes. I might try this out sometime and just get my own opinion of it in play.
Now, when you see one of these weapons in play, you have a different context. It is not just a dice roll now when you see a great axe. When you see a crossbow, it's not just getting hit by a bolt. It's you may get pushed back 10 feet and fly right off a cliff. So there's a new context emotionally and narratively for what these weapons are now. They mean something extra.
Well, especially for the DM, because it is primarily going to be monsters that are facing this.
Absolutely.
But it also means that players can be much more interactive with each other in setting combos up. Because now if you know, all right, that crossbow isn't just going to do damage, but it might also displace the target. That creates a tactical situation for the group to have fun thinking about that wasn't there before.
It's very simple though, but that is by design, as you mentioned. But it's had a tremendous impact in
That's
playtest
cool art.
and even your home game.
Oh, the weapon mastery transforms every battle. And again, we had to make sure that the complexity level was low because of how often it can happen. And I can say in our playtests that it has succeeded at delivering the fun and the tactical interest that we wanted. I, in the playtest, spent most of my time playing a fighter, and I had a ball creating, especially as the fighter was higher level and had more and more masteries unlocked. I loved being able to play this mini game of, all right, at first I want to use this weapon because of this mastery property. Then my next attack will be this one where I can exploit what I did with the previous weapon. Super fun.
The New Player's Handbook is available for pre-order right now on D&D Beyond. You can find that link in the video description, and you can also find...
Okay, will not go to watch this part. You can pre-order the Player's Handbook or the Core Rules Handbook if you would like to on D&D Beyond, but will not go to spend time on that. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to discuss with this. I am hoping, and I'm sure this will be the case, because I don't know how you would balance it otherwise. I am hoping that all of the weapon mastery effects have saving throws. So that way people aren't getting toppled or getting put at disadvantage or giving players advantage too often. So that could be a little bit of a balance to it. That is a lot of saving throws rolled by the DM, especially if you're using a lot of different monster stat blocks. It might become a problem where you're flipping between monsters a lot in combat for saving throws, but I think there's probably ways to balance that. Just put all of your stat blocks on the same page kind of thing. I will say, as a DM, I would definitely also give the enemies weapon mastery. And I'm sure this is something that they have accounted for. But I'm one of the DMs that has the opinion that if it's good enough for the players, it's good enough for the enemies. And for example, the campaign that I'm running right now, they do fight a lot of monsters. Don't get me wrong. They have fought small dragons, a mind flayer, stuff like that. They fought a false hydra once. That was near the beginning of the campaign. That's how things got kicked off. Oh no, that was a one shot in the middle of somebody else's campaign. But my players do fight monsters pretty consistently. I think the issue would be like my current campaign I'm running. The main enemy is a group of paladins that worship a celestial being. I don't want to give too much away from it because we might film an actual play in the same setting with the same story in the future. But the main group of enemies is paladins. The issue with that is the paladins use weapons. So with this system, I would give them weapon masteries. That would balance it against the players a little bit because, you would be fighting somebody with similar abilities to you. That's the great thing I think about using paladins as the villain is it's kind of like you're fighting a different party of people. Um, but that might also make it very frustrating for the players if the paladins were using weapon mastery also. So I think you would have to balance it a little bit. I am worried about how this would play at a table, but it would be something I would at least be interested in trying out. It might be really fun. Like the guy was saying, I forget his name right now. I don't know how I forget his name. That might be Jeremy Crawford. Like he was saying, it could transform the table. He said it transformed his home table. I do feel like combat is going to be longer for this. I would say my biggest concern with weapon mastery, and kind of my biggest concern with the player's handbook so far, is I think they've put a lot of effort into trying to improve the martial classes. So they have weapon mastery. They have a bunch of new features for the fighter that we talked about in the last video, like extra second wins and stuff like that. And those are great because a lot of people discuss that in 5e, the martial classes are a little bit outweighed by spellcasters. A high-level spellcaster is probably going to win a fight against a high-level martial class. But I think if you weigh it too heavily in the martials side, if you give too much to the martial classes, the weapon mastery, the improvements to the fighter class, people are not going to be as interested in playing magic classes. So then you're going to have a lot of parties full of fighters, barbarians, paladins, and you're going to have to balance your enemies to be either more magic based, because like I said, a lot of the time, magic classes are going to have an advantage in combat, or you just give your enemies high AC, a lot of hit points, because you're facing a bunch of martials. So you're not as worried about like saving throws most of the time. I've been yapping about this for a little bit too long, but I am a little bit worried that the player's handbook is going to convince people to play martial classes over spellcasting classes. And I think what D&D should be trying to go to is a balance. Giving people more interest in martial classes without taking away interest from spellcasting. We have not dived into like the wizard, sorcerer, warlock. So when they reveal that kind of stuff, I might change my mind. But right now it seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis into improving the martials. So other than that, I think we've spent enough time talking about this video. Like I said, the weapon mastery I think could be interesting. I'd love to try it out, but I do have my concerns about it. Just like I have my concerns about a lot of things with this new handbook. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video though. If you did, you can leave a like. If you have your opinions about the weapon mastery system, please leave a comment. We can talk about it a little bit. I try to read all of the comments. I don't really get a lot of comments, so it's been really easy so far, but if you guys want to leave a comment, I love talking about D&D. I would definitely be down to talk about this new system. I will be going through the rest of the Player's Handbooks videos as I get time and as they are released. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this is fine to release. I don't know how copyright works with YouTube, but we will see when all of this stuff starts to come out on my channel. We might have to just get rid of some videos. We'll see how it goes. If you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'll be going through all of these. If you want to see the videos as they are released, please hit the notification bell. That will notify you when videos come out. Other than that, I hope everybody is having a great day. And until next time, peace.